Macca's Burgers ever.
Welcome back to Maxi Bond Watch, where I just basically abuse teams until they give me their product. You'll remember last week I said to Shock, why don't I have a Maxi Bond? He didn't bring me one, by the way, but Taylor from AV, she hooked me up, brought it over. So Shock, you still owe me Maxi Bonds. Don't make a liar out of yourself. But that was a hell of a game that we were not expecting. We were so positive on Chiefs going into this. We've been so positive on Chiefs the whole split, and they got smacked.
Just before we get there, I believe that at the start of that pitch, you were required to say, in no way...
No. That was for the second part, where I was like, if you want to get your team sponsor featured on the show in my mouth, then hook me up with product. But this is a sentence that is not endorsed by League of Legends, not endorsed by the OPL. The words are purely my own. These views are expressed solely by Nick Richardson. So that's fine.
That's much better.
The first part where I'm just talking about chocolate Maxi Buns.
I, for one, feel much more comfortable now.
Well, I'm excited for that Alienware computer you're going to send me.
That I guaranteed you. Thanks, Alienware. But, yeah, so... What are we talking about?
You're talking about that game because it's all we were talking about during the
I
commercial break.
cast it. What do you think? I've talked about it for half an hour.
I thought that they just got smoked.
Yeah.
I think, all bullshit aside, Lucio just, absolutely trapped Chiefs, in one of the better draft traps I've seen in a long time. We used to do it against Chiefs all the time as well. And the reason you can do it against Chiefs is because it's Swiper's champion pool. And I say that in the most loving way in the world. Doss got some unique champions like the Kled, but he's not playing Aurelia. As soon as Aurelia's picked up, you know that's going mid lane. You can bait Renekton counter pick into it. Renekton Talia just one hits the Aurelia the whole game. And when you gain control over the middle portion of the map, it doesn't matter how good your side lane matchups are because you just lose the game through inferior numbers at every play.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really great demonstration of how to do it by one of the better coaches in the region has ever produced, to be honest, in Soul Strikes.
When Ovo was in the, I don't know what it's called, KRCS, the Career Challenger scene, recently, team was super dominant, comes back on the Bombers now. And yeah, I don't know, just playing silent, trying to fight in bottom lane when your mid has no priority.
Yep.
It's just miserable. Same for the top side. So yeah, you kind of said it. They got control of that one. That was it was dominant game.
Because they had a 50-50.
50-50.
A 50-50.
Yeah.
I go into house talk when I start talking about League of Legends now. It's
Great
terrible.
gaming, Summoner.
Yeah, great gaming, Summoner. So they have to 50-50 top lane, right? You're terrible at eating. Which is the Kled versus the Akali. As Paul said, kind of a swinging matchup. Very snowbally. But their bottom lane should be able to push. When you pick Ezreal as well as Karma, there's this misconception that Ezreal can't push. Sheen Ezreal with 5 stacks and unlimited mana is one of the better pushers in the game with a range support. You just can't push with a melee. So that should have been a pushing lane, but you lose control of mid and all your win conditions just
Topple out the window.
down the mountainside.
Yeah. It's also Ezreal has an auto attack reset, so he's one of the best pushers at level 1 because AD carries don't have that, and you don't have items to make attack speed really that relevant.
Correct.
Right? So it's just having a free auto. You're smacking the creeps.
I'm glad that we had this conversation because upstairs, when I turned to Rusty, who, in my opinion, is one of the top 4 casters in the OPL, for detailed analysis about why Bombers were so good, he said they ate their Weet-Bix this morning. So I was like, well, that's not really what I'm looking for. But apparently they did. Rusty, did you eat your Weet-Bix?
I didn't eat my Weet-Bix. Am I here? I'm
Yeah,
here.
him.
I didn't eat my Weet-Bix this morning. I've actually veered away from Weet-Bix. I think that they're good, but they are just something that fills your stomach. You should have oats instead.
I had
agree.
Weet-Bix this morning.
Did you?
Yeah, Weet-Bix and muesli.
Old school. Yeah.
What do you, old school? I do it all the time.
Yeah, no, that's what
Current
I'm saying.
school.
That could
your
still be
current
old school.
Yeah.
It's
I
good
have
school.
changed my Weet-Bix eating tactic.
Huh?
Wait, you were the freak that used to stack them
No, I used to just put them that way and pour the milk over them. But now what I do is I mush up a banana.
mush up a banana.
Yep.
Do you just
Mush
eat that
up
off the
banana.
carpet?
Yeah, I was
And
told that the dog would eat it. So
I boil the kettle
Uh-huh.
and I put my Weet-Bix in.
Is this for you or Jasper?
This is
In
for
the
me.
kettle?
No, in the
Oh,
bowl.
right, okay.
With the banana.
Yep.
And then I pour a little bit of hot water over the top and I mush it all up and mix it together. Mm-hmm. And then
Your wheat?
I
You're
put,
mushing up your-
Yeah, then I put milk in. And it's just cheats porridge. It's for the mornings where I can't be arsed making proper porridge. And it's just banana and kind of porridgey
This
stuff.
was my tactic that my grandmother used to do when I was growing up. We talked about this last year, and I got humiliated by all of
Well,
you saying
I'm now on
hot
board.
water on your Weet-Bix.
No, I think
now on
it's
board.
definitely freak behavior.
Nah, there's 2 versus
No.
1. Do you know what that means? in that 1 year,
Yep.
I've become a better father, obviously, because you're a great father.
Please.
And also a much older man.
I'll
Where
heavily
my
agree
teeth
with
are
that.
falling out. I need mush.
I'll agree with that for sure. Now, that's enough talk about Weet-Bix. We spent far too much time talking about Weet-Bix. We were supposed to be talking about Maxi Bonds, goddammit. What we want to talk about, we are basically midway through the split. We just want to do a bit of a recap on some of the teams that are standing out, some of the teams that have growth potential, let's say, and the same with the players. But we'll start off with the teams. Boys, there's basically I would have said before this last game, a solid top 3 fighting out for first position. Potentially now a top 4 with Bombers 2 points away from the top. How are we feeling about these teams? Who's standing out for you this split?
I'll let you go first on that. I think there's a top 6. I think anyone in the top 6, if you played a best of 5 right now, people would not be able to say with 100% confidence. Like, I think the best you would get is like a 70-30 at the moment.
Yeah.
That has not been true in the OPL in a very long time. In the past, Direwolves, you would have been like, just knock them down for a 3-0.
Yeah.
Chiefs, knock them down for a 3-0.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is one of the most compelling seasons so far.
Yeah.
However,
I
team,
agree with the problem is we're now like 2 games deep, right? Because my answer for like most consistent team of the split would have been the Chiefs.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
sitting top of the table, like coming into this week, AV are close, 1 point behind, but it was kind of looking at like Mammoth and Chiefs, and I think in Chiefs wins, like they're in Chiefs fashion, right? Like they get a dominant early game and then they just smack the game around. Mammoth, while still being very good, they're now potentially after today, if they get a victory, right? Like they are top dogs, but Chiefs just got smacked by the Bombers, so it just leads into your point.
yeah, but the reason the Chiefs, in my eyes, are the most consistent is look at the difference between their win time and their loss time. Like, it is so far apart. 9 minutes different. Like, they hold on.
Okay.
They drag it out. They make you fight for it. They are the best early game team. Early game leads to way more consistency. Mammoth and Avant both have issues in their early game right now that they're trying to shore up. So that's why I gave it to the Chiefs as the
Yeah.
most consistent team, because at every stage of the map, they're a very good team right now.
Yeah, and like top 6, I think is actually super relevant because that's the first time I've heard you say that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it's from different perspectives, right?
Yes.
Like Order had a very rough start, but you have to look at the
But we've
gauntlet.
still beaten Bombers
Yeah,
twice.
yes, you've beaten Bombers, and now Bombers have just like smacked Chiefs, and
Yeah.
it's also you look at different teams and they have different strengths. Order made it to the gauntlet last split by 1 game, and then 3-0, 3-0, 3-1 are in the grand final, right? You have to
Can
attribute
we
like
bring that
like
patch back,
like
by the way?
some
I don't know who I need to speak to about that,
Yeah.
but that was a real good patch.
Yeah, and like you know what I mean? Like you have to attribute some of that form. It's like the same collection of players. Direwolves, Volt said it in the interview, like super honest, just being like, look, eventually they're gonna get really good. You have double Korean import, like it just has to happen. Like we were joking, but like they have looked very good at times, and it's like shoring up the weaknesses. And then you do have the teams that are just at the top of the table, like they have just looked straight good for different reasons. They're just straight up winning games, and of course they're in the conversation.
Well, I said this about Bombers, I think, in week 1 of this split. There is no doubt in my mind that Bombers are going to be a top 2 team at some point in this season. And the reason I say that is look at the top side of the map. And then if ever there was just CS hose that was like willing to soak up all the farm that was left available, it was Luch. And now you give him items that actually scale into the late game, right? So like it's just, I've always said this, like there are some good 80 carries in the league. Raze is a great 80 carry. King is a great 80 carry. I think Dream is a really good 80 carry. But when you have a top side of the map that is Ryoma, Wilder, and Mimic, and I played like 1 scrim against the guy, and I was like,
Wilder.
yeah, this team is going to make waves at some point because they're going to get a topside focus meta, which, surprise, surprise, has now rolled in. And they are going to start pumping people with that top side of the map.
Yeah.
So then we've got a top 6. That leaves us with 2 teams. We've got Legacy and Gravitas not fulfilling the potentially that they have, or need to rethink the way that they're playing, rethink the way that they're structured. What's happening for these teams that they can't match another group that are all relatively close?
I will take Gravitas because I'm going to speak about someone on the couch. So I'm going to look at you while I'm doing it.
Please.
Gravitas last split were a team that their sum was greater than their parts. They had very, very good macro. They were the only team that could play 1-3-1 in the whole comp, like in a meta that was not 1-3-1. Now teams are starting to get on board. And they were very, very good at saying no to the fights that suck OPL teams into losing games. And then all of a sudden, all of those things have gone out the window, in my opinion. And, you know, I don't want to give too much credit to Bryce because everyone knows he was a shit coach, but like some of it has to be in the change of the coaching staff, and I think what is happening behind the scenes. But what was so solid, they were like the consistent team.
Yeah.
And then they just threw the same stuff at you, and they either beat you or lost to you based on what your performance on the day was. Now they are very inconsistent, and the keys have been thrown to Pabu, to be honest. He now just picks whatever he wants and tries to carry the game. And that, to me, is a team that is like just very desperate.
Yeah, right, because like Rusty said at the top of the day, it was like the 6-1 Mordekaiser game. And it looks like things aren't cohesive is the problem, right? Like it's a little thing here that pops and then like the game goes disastrously wrong. And I guess that's my segue to talk about Legacy, right? They've had a similar problem for a couple of weeks, right? They're the other team sitting at the bottom of the table. Gravitas have a singular more win. But these are two different groups of players coming from different parts of the league, right? Like Gravitas is filled with names that we've seen before in the OPL, like the Raid, the
They're all
Decoys.
veterans.
Yeah, and then this is a young lineup that at the start of the year, every interview, Denny and talking to like Carbon behind the scenes, it's always like, this is a young team full of young blood. There's a role swap coming through for Praetor, for Crazy, and it's about the slow build. And they were building. Like, they were looking good towards the end of Split 1.
We kept saying that at the end of last split, that this was a team who are improving, that are going to take the off-season to be able to, like, really take that next step.
Yeah, right? And it's just like something has obviously happened and they've spent a couple of weeks like stagnant, right? There's a couple of things just going wrong. The communication, the cohesion isn't there. Whether like you're not necessarily now just looking at it's like it's a Guts Pat Prize thing. Like that was around for weeks. We looked at it and it looks like that sort of stuff is getting solved. But it's about like getting back on the train that was so steadily rolling at the start of this year.
And I think they have old legacy problem. They had a carry player that was really good at playing carries into tanks. That used to be Tally. Tally was a monster at playing carries into tanks. Like, when you think about what Paparazzi was doing split 1, it was like picking the cheeky Riven every now and again and being able to pop off on it, right? Now they're playing carries into carries and their players are actually getting a little bit outclassed. So I think that this is actually a team that I'm never going to say anything bad about Legacy because they always bop me as soon as I do it. So they're a team that I have so much faith in being able to climb the mountain and get back there. It's just about getting these players motivated and like really switched on and playing their best League of Legends. Because we've seen when Praetor plays really good League of Legends, they look different. And when Chaz plays different, really good League of Legends, they look different as well. So they've got some legitimate carries there. It's just about getting... They need to play the 10 every game. They're not a Mammoth where they can afford to play a 7 and they're going to consistently win games. Like, they need their players to pop off and like play really, really well.
And just quickly before we head into the next game, I mean, we talked about the potential that Legacy was showing at the end of last split. This was something with Direwolves. Direwolves obviously winning last year, came last at the end of last split, and we said that, you know, this is a time that you need to figure out how to take that next step forward as a team who are now learning to play together. And it appears that they're doing all the things that we were expecting Legacy to do.
Absolutely. And now I'll make a controversial call because I haven't had one in a while. This is the time for Sharp to prove that he won the titles and Schernfire did it.
Oh, okay.
Because all that I see right now is Schern has left Direwolves and this team has no bloody idea of how to play League of Legends. And they have 2 Korean imports and very, very good players that should be title worthy. And at the moment, I think they're in contention for it. I said there is a top 6, so they could turn it around. But this is a big challenge and the big question that is being asked of Sharp. Like, was it you or was it Schern? Because right now it is looking like it was Schern.
Because like when you look at the seasons that they have had, it's like drastically, like the easiest thing to point towards is just roster changes, like complete rookie roster, and then they bring in the double imports. That graphic had Corporal on it. I'm not sure who's playing today because it was interesting to me that Totoro comes over, has been playing every game with Rays, and then they used Corporal last week. Whether he's back on the lineup this week, I'm not sure. Is definitely a question to answer.
Yeah, and the one area I actually thought there was going to be movement, there's been no movement, which is in the mid lane. Because
Get back and see him in.
Yeah, I thought it's like Seaman's a terrific player. He's qualified into the OPL before on the back end of like his stellar performance with ZZZ, and like is a really good 1-2 punch to throw out there. And they have kind of a Swiper-esque top laner in Biopanther that I thought would really suit Seaman's style. Similar to how Ryoma really excelled when he was on the Chiefs, in my opinion, because he could just play the hard carry every game, and we haven't seen it at all.
Yeah.
So that was my big question about where the 10-man roster is, because he was the one that I was really excited to see.
We do need to get to the
Quick
next
thing
game.
though,
This
Get
better
Back
be
has been
amazing.
playing. Get Back actually, I think, has been playing very well. Like it's not like, you know what I mean. The way like, have we seen CM and what is the go with the 10-man roster? Get Back actually, this split has been pretty good.
You know my personal love for Get Back. Well, I love the shout out as well to Sharp. I've never met anyone who loves coaching as much as he does. Let's hope there's some of the Swiffer in him and he rises to that challenge when you just throw it out to him. All right, it's time to jump into game number 3. It is Mammoth versus Legacy, and it is the Macca's Champ Select.
Rise to the challenge. It feels like this is going to be what this game is about, right? Like Legacy versus Mammoth, this is top of the table versus bottom of the table.
There is a correlation to be had here. So a quick throwback. Legacy, back when they were at their prime, they had someone in the team that would do push-ups before big games. All I'm saying, Order, they've done push-ups. They won today. You know, who hasn't done push-ups that we know of today is Direwolves. So maybe we get Sharp in here to do push-ups before their game.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Maybe
it
everyone
makes
just needs to
sense.
do more push-ups. Maybe that's just it. Maybe that's just the spice of life. Push-ups.
Yep, just like Wheat Bix are the spice of life in the food category.
What is Weetabix made out of? It's oats, right? But there's something else in it.
Wheat biscuits?
Wheat biscuits.
Is that what Wheat Bix is? Wheat biscuits? It's made out of
Made
wheat.
Wheat biscuits.
Made out of wheat in a biscuit shape.
Well, surely it wouldn't be made out of biscuits because biscuits are what you make stuff into. So it'd just be wheat.
Wheat, the
So it's
biscuit
made out
shape.
of wheat.
Yes.
Right, exactly. But in a big biscuit.
Yes. I'm glad we got there.
That's stupid. Anyway, let's get into this game. About 8-2 currently, obviously at the top of the leaderboard currently. And Legacy still trying to find something, anything. They've obviously changed their strategy significantly. Last week after the break that we had, they boot camped in Korea, came out with Rumble in the top lane multiple times, moved into the mid lane. It looked good. It definitely looked better. But it still feels like it's a 10-step process, and they've gotten up to 3 or 4 now.
Yeah.
And then it's like we just need to fill in the rest of the blanks.
The thing with Legacy is they've identified where they're strong as a team. They know their style. They know how they want to win League of Legends, but they haven't been able to put those ideas into execution. And that's the thing where they're really struggling the most, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing we have to look at for them now is how do you turn a philosophy into an executable strategy, and what does that look like? And one of the first things we saw from them after their brief trip to Korea was Rumble. Now they're just picking Rumble in every matchup. It was their first pick. It's a blind pick. They just love Rumble now. And I thought maybe, you know, that's a champion that spikes on items, that hits mid-game hard, and lets them snowball any early game advantages into something meaningful. But then they were losing early game.
Yeah.
So they're still trying to find that balance, I think, there for Legacy. And it's a really hard thing to do. And I mean, that's something that can take time. But I wonder how much time they have exactly. You know, this is the world split, and if they don't start winning now, they're done.
Yeah, and the problem is, like, with picks like that, you look at them and you're like, best case scenario, hits the mid-game hard, has double pen items, looks perfect, right? But then when you're only losing in the mid-game, you're like, well, now Rumble has to itemize into Sork Boots and has no defensive items and gets blown up by basically anything because he has no defenses. So we're only really seeing that side. So we'll see how Legacy do in this matchup. We've had some bans coming through, the Irelia, the Karma, the Lux, and Kiana, ban out here, wasn't even touched in the first few games. 0 appearance rate. Sejuani and Yasuo following that. First pick of Yuumi, high priority pick, and Legacy will pick up the just right at bottom lane, Nautilus and Lucian.
Yeah, no flex picks to be seen from Legacy. No junglers to be prioritized either. They've just gone straight for the bottom lane. Mammoth now free to pick the matchup that they would like as well. I would expect this one the most. While Sivir is one of the other scene champions with the Yuumi, Ezreal is better into the Nautilus, as there is now less gank setup available when Nautilus presses R. So Mammoth, I would say very early here with their draft in the bottom lane, comfortable with the 2v2. Doesn't win, but comfortable with what they want. And they get to delay their solo lane. It's just a little bit more. However, they chose to show their hand. Very early here, go towards the Azir, which to me, I would expect to see some mid lane bans. But we know that Chaz can also flex with this Rumble, and it can go mid if they like.
Yeah, we've seen it go in the top lane and the mid lane. Azir into there as well from Triple. Seen some great stuff from him so far in the pick. Olaf, ban out here from Legacy, looking towards the junglers now. So we have, neither team have hit junglers, and still need those solo laners.
Yeah, Olaf being banned. A couple of junglers still up and available, of course. Sejuani is one of the others that have been taken away. I'm curious to see where they choose to go here. Olaf was traditionally hard counted by the Jarvan, but we've seen a lot less of that with the inclusion of Conqueror. Olaf now just stands perfectly still and says, let's dance inside the Cataclysm. So Olaf actually one of those champions that is often banned when you're looking for engaged tools, you know, something like that. And For me, looking at Legacy's comp, I would say they don't necessarily need a hard engage, but it would be nice. They have a lot of follow-up, however, already if they choose to go hard engage. So that's why I suggest something like the Jarvan. But that could very easily be even like an Elise, and they just try and start with a Nautilus Elise combo and pick everyone off.
Could work. I mean, last time we actually saw Chaz go for the Talon, I believe, right? Yeah, because we just saw a Z-ban here, actually, from towards Legacy. Yeah, I mean, the conversation I was having with Bryce on that cast was like, it's the butterfly effect, right? Like, unfortunately, Talon with the first gank didn't get the kill. It was it was literally like half an auto attack off, and then it just spiraled out of control. Wasn't really able to get going. The Talon was able to do basically nothing. But there is a world where that changes, right? Like, the Talon gets a kill, then starts snowballing. So, going to take the Camille off the board here from Mammoth, and Legacy take the Lee Sin. We are looking towards, yeah, we still need a jungler and a solo laner from Legacy.
A lot of weird hovers coming out of Legacy at the moment
Yeah,
as we wait
yeah,
for
Wheel
the
of
actual
Fortune.
pick. And
It will be Rek'Sai.
Yeah, Rek'Sai, not a big surprise. Actually, just a very strong champ right now in the jungle role. I actually would say, because junglers aren't necessarily just picked in the first 3 anymore, it usually is a flex in the bottom lane, that Rek'Sai is one of those champs that has been banned a surprising amount and not picked all too often. So to get the pick is very nice. For Legacy, creative gank pathing is one of the biggest advantages that you get from the Rek'Sai, and you know, through that creativity, ganking a lane like bottom is a little bit more accessible, where normally you look at it and say it's a Yuumi Ezreal, real hard to gank.
Jarvan into the jungle. Nothing too crazy. Shaco hover. You know, there are so many champions in the league now. Sometimes you just forget champions exist. You're
Like
like,
Shaco.
oh, Shaco. Shaco or Shaco?
Shaco.
Because it's Shaco and Faco, and not Shaco and... Alright, we have Aatrox coming in from Mammoth.
That has managed to
real
get
surprise.
through to their last pick.
I know, right? It just
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, just by the way, Aatrox is up, so I guess we'll just take it into the top lane, no worries.
And this is the thing that Mammoth do. They tend to just pick a mid laner or just pick a champion. They're like, this is the champion we're playing, and you can pick whatever matchup you like, bud, because we're just going to take it on. Yeah, and we're going to have a good time with it. So.
Oh, yes. Mordekai's a lock in for Legacy, second one of the OPL. First one was Pabu. Didn't do too well. I believe it was 1-6.
He did.
Second
No, he
one.
was 6-1. They lost the
6-1.
game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, he had a good time for himself, and it was in the
True.
top
He
lane.
he was just grabbing people and killing them, and then we're like, oh, and we lost the fight, but I didn't really see it, so I'll look back at the VOD. Paparize, has picked up the Mordekaiser. It's still 15 seconds, could be swapped up, but I would assume it would go into the top lane into this it's Aatrox.
And this is really the thing we were waiting for with Legacy, is you look at the completed draft, is what were they going to pick as the last pick on Red's side, and which solo laner gets it, because we've seen Rumble in both roles for them respectively, and being picked in the first 3, then you get no information. So we see the Rumble, we now see the Mordekaiser, and it's clear that they've chosen the Mordekaiser to play, I would say, the most weak side that you can. And it's very hard to kill the Mordekaiser. And think of it like this, right? Mord, very killable, for levels 1 to 5. Mordekaiser hits 6, Jarvan comes to gank him, Aatrox is tanking the tower, presses R, ready to tank, and suddenly Mord and Jarvan are in a 1v1, you don't get resets. Mord just runs away. Try diving me now, you know? So I think this is one of the picks that if you were Paprise, if you were Legacy, you've had a pretty rough time on the top side of the map. I think Mordekaiser, just by design, makes his life so much easier. That means the job that he has in the team will be significantly easier.
I'm assuming that Vlad is a Rumble. Because on the... Yeah. I was confused for a second. It's fine. Anyway, we have Denian joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah? How are you feeling about today's match? See, you've picked up the second Mordekaiser of the OPL.
Yeah. Well, I think Mordekaiser is a pretty cool champion. It's
I
very
agree.
unique in how he operates as well. So if you are not prepared for how to deal with him, then he can be a very big headache.
And I was actually just talking about this as you were walking into the room. Is anything that you overheard from me, does that resonate true in that, you know, Paprise is... He's obviously been struggling. That's proof in the tape, right? But is Mordekaiser the type of pick that enables your team to play a way that you have been, but still enable him then?
He definitely has that as a strength, right? Like, if you try to dive Mordekaiser and you try to, like, 2v1 and 3v1 him, and he has gone to level 6 without anything catastrophic happening, then all of a sudden it's a 1v1 tower dive, and that's really rough. So I definitely agree. He is really hard to punish past level 6, which makes it a very comfortable champion in this sort of game setup for us.
What's your outlook for the rest of the split? We've been talking to all the coaches about, like, you know, we're now cresting over the middle part of the split, and now what are your plans for the rest now? A lot of people are saying we don't want to change too many things. We're only looking at, like, micro changes. What's the story for you guys?
I mean, we still have every week hopes that like we can do better because we see better in ourselves than what we show. So it is our desire that when we go to these games and we look at how the tables are shaping up, that if we played the way that we have played in the past, that we have played in like practice, that we could still be, you know, in Gauntlet. We could still be that team. There's nothing stopping us. There's still something like 10 games left. There's definitely enough opportunities for us to take those wins and get in there. So it's not like we've given up. We definitely haven't. We want to take every game seriously. We want to win every single game. And short of that, like these players still want to learn, right? Because a lot of them are still pretty new or still picking up a lot of things that could help them in the future. So
the hunger's still there.
Yeah. If no other things, there's still desire. And that's all you can really ask for, really.
Yeah.
So with my next question, it's going to be about the next patch that's coming up, because it seems like it could be a bit of a big one, you know, a bit of a shake-up in terms of how the
huge
meta
one.
goes. As two coaches just raise eyebrows and go, for you guys, because you very much identified the style that you know and that you want to be, and that you want to be like strong in early game and not stray from that. How do you go with preparation in an OPL week, knowing that there's changes that could be so drastic?
I don't know, man. Like, when there's that many changes, you just have to focus on the things that I guess your players like or already gravitate towards and think, how have these changes impacted our matchups, our play style, any of that sort of things? So, like, an example could be there was, like, Jace and Nico and Kennen changes recently. How has that impacted how we play topside? Has it impacted it at all? And if not, you can ignore it. And if it has, well, maybe those champions are more or less relevant. And maybe you just try first picking blind in it and seeing how it goes.
Just have to see. Bit of a 1v1 here as Babip will just get away as it goes for the invade. But as always, great talking to you, Denian, and
Thank you.
Best of luck in the game.
Have a good
I like when there's consistency that we can ask in questions as well. But sometimes there might be the inner coach within me is like, I'm not sure how I'm going to attack this because it is such a big patch. I wonder what Denian thinks.
I mean, honestly, I feel like we'd get a pretty similar response from most coaches.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Denian is very upfront, you know. But it is very interesting, you know, and that will come in, I guess, 2 weeks from now, right? The next patch.
Should be next week.
Yeah, should be next
It's
week.
live right now, so next week's OPL will be on the new patch.
Literally just on the horizon.
Completely boom.
Yeah, I think we've both spent too long in China where it's just like, when are we getting on patch? 6 weeks. And then we get 3. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, going to be regular on this one here in the OPL.
Yep, we've gotten through the early game pretty slowly actually so
Yeah.
far. Junglers
I don't
have
think anyone's
kinda
seen anybody.
Yeah, so a lot of it has been, so Triple walks up to the enemy Raptors, finds where the jungler is, finds Guts, and then Guts goes over to the enemy Raptor camp, where he still is, by the way, and finds Babip, forces the smite, and, you know, with smite force, it's a lot harder to invade or, you know, steal anything away. So we are just kind of, I would say we're just going for the full clears, get the resets, first purchases, get back on the map with control wards and use those to make plays. In saying that, only one jungler has reset so far, and that is Babip. So he is on the map well and truly first, perhaps able to make some plays.
You can see this Rumble having a good old time in the mid lane farming way. Could be very awkward to farm underneath towers, Rumble, because your Q is damage over time. Your E can help, but only at like certain windows in the laning phase. So as soon as they start crashing into the tower, it's like, well, I have to commit to one of these minions, and the other two will just die.
Yeah, either you overheat, burn all the minions, maybe lose one, or you just try and play a very dangerous game. And when you're being harassed, you know, when an Azir gets the push in, it's nearly impossible to just sit there and last hit, right? So not easy to do, but of course we had the luxury of watching him freely last hit those minions as Azir went for the reset. And note that Triple's gone teleport in this game. So really important for him that if he gets harassed in lane, he gets those free resets off. That will help him a lot, though I don't expect him to go too hard on the side laning as the game progresses. You know, running an Azir in a team, when it scales up, you want to be there for the team fights. And one of the contrasts here is that Chaz, who could go to the side lanes as the game scales, be a 1-3-1 team legacy, He's gone for the Ignite, for the lane pressure, for the lane kill threat. And so he won't be doing it either.
Babip walks into his jungle. Cops 2 E's on the Q. Didn't even go into the brush, so the bush is just on fire. And he was like, okay, well, good time. Walks around, goes towards his top jungle now, and actually looks for an invade maybe to Krugs. Look at Raptors, see if they're up, but level 4 Jarvan right now takes a lot of damage from a Rumble who's just ding 6.
Yeah, which is very good moves from Legacy. You know, getting into the Raptor camp, they saw the timings, they saw it taken away, so they're there the second it spawns. Babip wasn't sure if those Krugs were up, but he finds that they were, so he'll be able to take this one back, at least get himself to level 5, and you know, that is a big deal. But the trade is on here, and this is the thing, you know, Guts gets the red buff, it was done first, and it was done faster by Mammoth. I believe it was with a leash, whereas on the other side, red has just spawned. And if they wanted to, Legacy, they could use the lane control that they had to actually go to that red buff and contest. But Chaz has chosen to come bot side instead and not look towards his red buff just yet. Instead, he's going to escort his jungler around the rift and just look for that, you know, one extra camp, that one extra piece of experience, that one level closer to 6 where maybe the play is on then for Legacy.
It's the zero risk, low reward play. Babip will get his on the opposite side, but obviously there is a world where Rumble walks up, has Equalizer, and they get off my camp. You're level 5 right now, Jarvan, I can definitely duel you. And you double down and get both red buffs, but not going to be the case. Legacy will move up from the bottom lane. Jungle also here will pick up the first dragon of the game, which it will be a Cloud Dragon. So, would have hoped it was something different, but obviously not going to be the worst in the world. Second dragon will be Mountain coming in. 5 minutes
Spices
from
up.
now.
Yeah, we'll be happy to see the Mountain Dragon. Could coincide with some fights. Now, one thing we have to really set the stakes for here in this game is, you know, to do with the Lucian and the Rumble that we mentioned during draft phase, and that is item spikes. And when are these players really strong here for Legacy? Because you know, like looking at Mammoth's team composition, they'll spike pretty hard through the top side early. They'll get to the 3 items in mid and their AD carry, and then they're really unstoppable, right? For Legacy, they hit 2 items. I think that they should be able to win team fights pretty handily as Paprise just gets beaten up. For me, I look at the scaling, right? And I feel like Mammoth are pretty content scaling. I think that Legacy may want to pick those moments to, you know, to push where they are stronger. And that, to me, is the 2-item spike. With a Lucian getting 2 items, it's a very big deal. And Rumble having the flat penetration build as well. So that's what I would like to see from them. And the question is, will we?
We will see. I was going to say, I was literally before that fight going to be like, the Mordekaiser, even CS, bottom lane just going to land the Dredge Scientist Tiger blow. Top lane, it was even CS, it was basically unharassed all the way through laning phase, and then Panther top lane, it gets engaged on, and is now down about 3 waves. There should be a wave crashing as he walks back into lane. No, Guts going for this invade. Babip will see him in a second, has level 6 now, but should be able to pretty much get away with the smash and grab. I will take this last Raptor as well with me.
What a dive, yeah. The game became more and more dangerous as the seconds passed, but never the matter. That is the 3rd Raptor camp in a row, it seems, as well from Legacy.
Yeah.
A lot of focus on the bottom side of the Rift, and the thing that they have working for them is a lot of priority in that area, as they are hunting for triple.
Ooh, finds him in the shifting sands. Triple will back away. Goes towards the relative safety, but the Void Rush catches him. First blood over to Guts. In comes Fudge as well from the top side. Destiny attaches on to the Aatrox. Guts takes the blast cone, but in comes King from the bottom side. Should be able to wrap around and take down this kill. In comes Crazy, looking for the re-engage zone. No, backs away, but very late. Turn around the Dredge Diver. Chaz follows through. Paprise in for the top lane as well. Mordekaiser has joined the fight.
And I feel like Mordekaiser's just walked the whole way. He's going to get his recall cancelled as well there. Actually blind by the side of Mammoth. The end result is it's, I think, just a 1-for-1, maybe even just a 1-for-0 trade. And that was a lot of action for a Raptor camp, and then followed up with Vision. You know, this whole game has been starting to plant their feet on the bottom side. Legacy and Mammoth, for the first time, look in that direction a little bit more seriously. Triple gets caught, everyone comes to defend the Azir, but he's still ultimately going to go down. However, Legacy could have disengaged. You know, from the moment that Triple dies here, they've committed themselves pretty far. And you feel like, okay, I guess we have to trade Guts. You know, it's one of those 1-for-1s where we just call it a day. The mistake has happened, but we got the first blood. We're happy. Flash is used by Chaz, so clearly they're on the disengage. But Guts turns around here as well and just tries to maybe get the knock-up before he dies. Crazy very clearly forward in his positioning here as well. And that just gives space for the Ezreal ult, for the Yuumi ult to lock them down. And I mean, realistically, it isn't necessary. It's very dangerous, if you ask me, and they're lucky that no one else goes down as well.
Yeah, in an ideal world, maybe Guts actually passed towards his team instead of going down, then going for the turnaround. It looked like, oh wait, my team's here. So a bit of an afterthought, but either way, Mordekaiser going for the long trek down to the bottom lane. That was Fudge using his teleport for that play, so Paprise will have teleport up very shortly.
Yeah, the advantage would be very nice to have for any plays that happen, but no Dragon up, so Herald is the place to be, and Paprise being on the top side, so...
It's just a short stroll.
Yeah. Nothing too significant in saying that Praetor has got teleport up in advantage for them as well, so... Because they're crazy, he's already moved, he's in mid lane. If they wanted, they could be more aggressive in their forcing of vision around the Herald area. But it looks like, you know, Raptors have spawned. We have to get them first, is the game plan for Legacy currently.
4 Raptors in a row. I mean, it's a combo at this point.
We'll keep the counter.
And everybody gets involved.
Yeah.
Big invade. But after all of that, Mammoth is still ahead in terms of gold. A lot of that has been in the mid lane, to be honest. This is Zia. But then there's only 100 gold ahead.
Starting to hurt, though, the older Zia. He's getting towards those first items. Chaz really feeling it. It's hard to clear a wave as Rumble.
It is.
Now.
Yes. It's always a struggle.
Oh, the flash.
Flashes the dredge line. Empress Divide comes across, but the depth charge is already attached to the Void Rush for follow. Triple drops to Guts, but he's now way too far deep into the back line. Crazy also gets mopped up here. 3 kills go over to Mammoth.
And you know, again, Crazy flashes forwards. They get the engage. Triple goes down. But the cost is so high for getting these single kills. It's a Nautilus ultimate. It's an equalizer that are going onto one member. And Mammoth are so quick to respond that realistically, they're using too many things to kill that single person. And it just enables Mammoth. If they're in the right place, they get the trades.
Yeah, the definition of overkill. A triple kill coming through from Mammoth. And that's the first real like breakthrough moment, it feels like, in this game, where there's now a significant advantage picked up by Mammoth. You can see that one again. So the flash comes out from Crazy into the dredge line.
We got the space glider here from Guts as well. This goes long distance, believes he can fly. Chaz is already dead to Babip, and Crazy, of course, soon to follow as they come through. So it's very good again. The collapse from Mammoth is brilliant. They're fast to the punch as well. Legacy, they know when they can find those kills, and if it was just a pick and a disengage, they'd be happy. But unfortunately for them, the trade was available.
See, turret plating dropping soon. Yeah, Babip, 2 kills on him. He's actually going towards a more tanky build, has already committed to that one. He's gone for the Cinderhawk. Guts tracking Triple as he goes in. Says hello. Paprise is coming in from the top lane. He has everything up.
If he was really mean, he would just ult the Azir so that he couldn't get blue.
Yeah. Yeah. And it still goes over to Triple after all of that. And chains are on. Paprise pushing down. Chaz is actually leading this charge.
They brought everyone up this time, Legacy, but it is not at a time where they have a teleport advantage anymore. Both ADs do. Hook has connected.
The rest of the team has already run.
It's just really asserting dominance in the area. Nothing more.
There's a bit of ult damage there on Lucian as he passes towards this mid lane.
No culling available for the Lucian.
Yeah, a little bit awkward. But at least there's no size from this game to throw.
God.
This is the worst. Just wants to last hit underneath tower. And there's tracking projectiles left and right.
Yeah. Lucian's also just flashed as the Jarvan
Just
ulted
let me
him.
farm. Babip goes for the gank as well.
Lucian is not a weak side champion, Pulse. That is
No, he is
something
not.
that has been very quickly learned by Legacy here. And while they're moving Crazy around the map, I feel like they could be teleporting the Lucian into top side and trying to force the faster trade. Instead, he spends more time than he should probably be on the bottom side of the map, getting harassed, just getting poked down, and maybe thought he can trim the waves, slow them, but it's not really the way you can do that against an Ezreal and a Yuumi who harass you so heavily.
Finishing off Shelly right there. And yeah, 15 minutes into this game, and Legacy do manage to find themselves a return turret on the top side of the map. But Mammoth still leading in this one. The story for Legacy is like, we see a lot of early games like this, where either they're slightly behind or sometimes even with advantage. I will say last week they had an advantage, but then it's like, how do you transition to the game, right? Like, I feel like we need to wait another 5-10 minutes and then really start to analyze what Legacy are doing, because it's like, yeah, steps 1 to 3, we said this before Champion Select, are kind of there already from Legacy. It's just what they do transitioning into that mid game, which really just seals the deal most of the time.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, towards the draft, I think it's smart of them to say we're just going to build to be stronger where we have been struggling. You know, make it harder for our opponents to actually best us. And, you know, best case scenario, we win the fights. Worst case scenario, we still scale to late game, but we're stronger here and our opponents won't fight, you know? In saying that, there's been a lot of proof in just this game alone that they seem to, you know, have an in, find an in maybe, a point where they can look for an engage and they just go hard. And the question that we should really be highlighting there is, like, was their setup good? Was their vision control good? Like, did they know that Mammoth were going to be there to respond? And is that how you want to play that out with that knowledge?
Bing jumps away. And it's a big re-engage coming out from Babip. Crazy turns around, hits the terrain, just drags him right into Mammoth's open arms. 2 kills go to Mammoth.
And again, I think the proof is right there. They look for the play, maybe just to push them off the mid wave, but then they get ulted, they get killed, and now they got 2 dead, looking to lose the mid lane outer turret. Is this the fight they should be taking? You know, the teleport comes in from Fudge, but Paprise walks. Big disconnect.
Steps forwards, streamer shuffle, it's on, and Paprise now in a 1 versus 1 triple will just deck him, even in that 1 versus 1. And that was 3 kills, a tower, and the Azir turret goes up as well. Guts just hovering around the bottom side of the river. And it feels like Legacy just going for, like, shock tactics, right? It's just like, we'll just charge them and we'll take them by surprise, nuke down a target, and then we can follow through. But every single time it's been very much an overcommit, at least from one or multiple members, and Mammoth will just sweep them after the initial engage.
And it's hard at a certain point, you start questioning yourself, you know, are we looking for opportunities or are they countering us? Fudge, he's just going to die, thankfully, so they do get the play off. Lots of damage out of Guts and Praedyth, and it gets them a turret. This is the first time, really, where it goes against the grain, but they get something for free.
Yep.
There isn't just an outright trade back against them.
I mean, that was obviously just great coming in from Legacy right there. Mid lane, tried to clear out this mini wave as it hits the tower. So, I mean, plays like that, it's still there, right? Like, it's not everything is bad right now, but it's these crucial decisions that are being made here by Legacy that's potentially could cause some troubles.
Second Cloudy boy.
Yeah, going over for Guts right here.
We take those.
Low on health, does have the smite though. I think we're good. Doesn't even need the smite.
Didn't actually have it up. I think he used it at the start of the dragon. Or he used it on the dive bottom and just got it available.
Right. And it was just coming up. Yeah, I'm blind. I couldn't quite see the
the indicators are hard to spot.
Yeah, especially on Smite because there's a lot of white. So when you see the... Yeah. I think it was just on the, like, the diagonal
That's why teleport's baller. You know.
Oh, yeah, 100% of the time. I can see exactly how much Praedyth's got left on Flash and teleport. Yeah, 2 Cloud Dragons. And another Cloud Dragon as well coming up for Legacy. Yeah.
Wishing they were probably Infernals, if at all possible, as once again they found the hook. Mammoth, they're here this time.
Good CC on Babip. Rest of the team just glides on out of there. So there should be a defense on the red buff, though. Pretty much everyone is recalling from Legacy, and King is still harassing, but yeah, they get it. Goes over to Praedyth right here.
And while Mammoth were here, their teleporting member of Fudge was not. He was actually hitting Krugs on the bottom side of the map. So the thing that Fudge did well there that goes unnoticed is that he wasn't visible to Legacy. You know, hitting the Krugs isn't hitting a minion wave. There's a chance Legacy like, oh god, they're all here. Like, this is a very aggressive stance from Mammoth towards the red buff. They don't hard force the fight, but you can still see the potential there from them. Good pick is still available at any moment. Also, I just realized, Mordekai's the best into Yuumi. Because you ult the target that Yumi's attached to, and Yuumi just drops off. It goes wherever.
That's actually huge.
So it isolates Yuumi. Or you can just ult the Yuumi and...
So she just delinks on the spot, right?
Yeah.
That's actually super strong. And it's again, it's another one of these champions, like having this conversation earlier with Bryce, right? Where it's like the ultimate in theory is like super strong, like broken even. You know, look at Zillion, like theoretically it's just amazing. But in this game, you know, we're 20 minutes in, we saw one Mordekai's ultimate so far, and it's Mordekai's already in a 1v5 and still gets killed in a 1 versus 1, right? So it's really about the execution, when you use it, how you use it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not as simple as to say the champion is broken if you can't play the champion, right?
Right.
Then you'll never be able to succeed. Obviously, I'm making an extreme statement there. I'm sure Paprise can play the champion. Another hook connects here.
Yeah, this time it's onto Yuumi, and Yuumi just instantly attaches to Babip. He's looking to back away. Depth charge goes down. That's a big equalizer coming across. Guts is trying to back off this one. Returns with the Emperor's Divide, but this is going to walk straight on past it, Legacy. They find one. Looking towards the second. Triple moving into the top side. He's got the Sandstorms in front of him. And Destiny, he's just trying to run around in circles right now. Triple banging sometimes with the Zhonyas. And King coming across, slides over the wall, and Triple is still not dead. Might make it back to the team. Blast cones over the wall. Fudge trades places with him right now.
Still hunting.
And King is kiting this one all day. Paprise hits him with the Obliterate. But they're just getting kited out right now. And MAMMOTH are somehow surviving this fight. And Legacy, they simply don't have a way to get back on top of them.
MAMMOTH just roll up their sleeves and just kite them around the rift endlessly. The stopwatch, you thought maybe buying time actually gets Triple out, resets the cooldowns on his dash, and covers all of the distance. So MAMMOTH, I mean, that should have been a lot worse than it actually was by the skin of their teeth, however. And good kiting, you know, the use of an Iceborne Gauntlet means a big deal. Clobbered.
Go back to base.
Oh, his Moby's gone as well, that poor support player.
Yeah, it's just like the most frustrating thing. It's not going to kill him, but it will irritate him for 5 seconds.
And realistically, once the Nautilus doesn't have hook or ultimate to continue to follow up on these kills, it's a lot harder to get. You know, the start of this fight is brilliant. They survive for a long time. Guts actually, with his flash, dodges the flash ult from Triple as well. But it took so long to kill them. And now Paprise, because he chooses to ult Destiny, doesn't actually lock down Triple, and it means that one of the DPS members is missing it. The kill on Destiny is free in that situation, right? But if he was ever at a moment where he could be in range of Triple, I think that would have been the higher priority. And from this point, really, King knows that he's just going to sit here and apply Iceborne Gauntlet whenever he can, kite them out, low cooldown on his E if he keeps hitting those Qs, and it's free to hit them as well. So good disengage from him, and really, more than anything else, good damage application from him to prevent any threat near the Baron area.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Straight through the minion wave, and Legacy are just looking for it again. Replay right into another fight. Triple backed on out of there, and King gets his first kill on this one. Has just turned right around. Double, triple kill. King looking for another. Paprise getting chased down right now, trying to get in range for that CC Fudge. There's Yuumi, but they're back to the tower. And King, as you said, just absolutely pops off.
And they are putting all of their resources into killing Triple or Babip. You know, they're hooking onto the closest person. But you can't forget about King. You cannot forget about this Ezreal. Free to poke. 3 items completed. The Muramana done here as well. Upgraded. He is just putting on an absolute clinic of Ezreal. And MAMMOTH in the driver's seat.
I don't even know if I've seen a fight this game that has been MAMMOTH initiated. It's all been off of hooks and Legacy charging at them. And this time it's...
These two are in trouble. There's a whole lot of map to cover here. Praedyth may even want to teleport.
All right, we've got a bit of a Scooby-Doo situation right now, so MAMMOTH going to probably split up.
They didn't check this bush.
Shh.
Zoink, Scoob.
He's not here.
Oh, oh he could have auto-attacked.
Rest in peace. He was just around the corner. Yeah, he could have auto-attacked.
That's a goddamn tragedy.
Goes for the Q. Doesn't get him with the charger, but we'll see the initiate once again. Crazy threading the needle right here.
Yeah, hitting a good hook. Ults Triple. Triple just throws the ultimate, gets him away, and dashes all the way to safety during all of that time. I mean, King free hitting. He's got 3 items. He's going to one-hit the entire team if he's free to do so, and that's exactly what we see. We're back.
It is. Ezreal is massive right now. Triple items, has boots completed as well. 6-0-3. Yeah, King has had a very good game. Middle tower will finally go down for Legacy here, but really at what cost? Baron buff for MAMMOTH.
And one big thing that he has picked up, and you know, a lot of people in League will look at it and be like, why? He's got the QSS now done. You know, there's not a lot of stuns on the enemy team, but Mordekaiser ultimate is countered by QSS.
Yeah.
So it feels like a Mordekaiser tax, but that's really valuable for them because he needs to be applying DPS to the team to win the team fights. And at a certain point, Paprise would have just ulted King and said, take the 4v4.
Yeah.
I'll just keep him busy.
I may die, but he's gone for, you know, however many seconds until he kills me. I assume it's less because I think King would kill him.
Sorry, man. No, give him 7.
Oh, yeah.
We'll give him 7. He's earned it.
But MAMMOTH, top of the top tower. Moving on to the second. This is probably the first hook I've seen Crazy not hit this game. When he wanted to. Obliterate dodged out by Babip. Going to disengage onto Fudge right here. He's dead. But this Yuumi ultimate is massive as well. Turns around, 1-for-1 trade. Finds the second onto Chaz. And King just can't be stopped right now. Misses the Screamer's Divide. But Double kill comes in for Triple. And now with only 2 members remaining, this looks like it could be lights out for Legacy.
Yeah, certainly possible this is game from them. They're going to have to go back to base. It's Paprise with ultimate, and it is Praedyth with flash. So they have some tools, but is it enough? As King just QSS's it, and the fight's on.
And Paprise goes right towards him, wants to 1v1, but not anymore. Praedyth kiting back to the tower, though. 3 versus 1, not going to happen. King tracking projectile, and Paprise is on the run. Just let him leave. Take the turrets instead. They're going to take this one out. And Paprise, the best he can do is try and abduct the minion wave, but he's going to get caught out. King's going to find himself his 9th kill of this game.
It looks like they're not going to be able to end the game, however, as a result of Praedyth and Paprise buying a lot of time. So well done from them to save the Nexus. But unfortunately, like you mentioned, now a 9-kill Ezreal running around on Summoner's Rift and just absolutely commanding the state of the game. No one really able to stop them as Destiny needs to leave the area. What are you doing, Blade?
Oof. You know, if that Prey Seeker was landing, you know what was following? A whole Rek'Sai.
The Sugar Glider.
It's an odd analogy. I would say it was probably...
Ult earlier.
Yeah, I know, but like,
It's
sugar
the sloth crossing
gliders
the
are
road.
so different to like Rek'Sai, right?
It's
Of
the-
all the animals in the animal kingdom, you chose sugar gliders.
Yeah, I did. Because they glide, and his ult is a glide now. I could have said the sloth crossing the road. You know, the I believe I can fly.
See, even that is close, I think, to Rek'Sai. Yeah, this is a rough situation for Legacy, and I think this game was very much a focus on proactivity and trying to find picks and engagers. And sometimes it doesn't always work out. Just because you can hook doesn't mean it's just going to be an instant kill.
I still think that's a lot of positives to be taken from.
It is,
you
though,
know,
because they've demonstrated they can do it.
yeah, individual moments and individual plays, there are some things that should be commended from it. You know, I think the Raptor control from Chaz and Guts was actually really good for applying pressure and forcing a prolonged map split when bot side is meant to be your strong area. The questions for me come on, like, was Crazy's roams, were they all the correct timing? Like, all of these things need to be taken into consideration because Praedyth had a pretty rough experience the second Crazy started leaving lane. That hasn't got better.
That was just straight up King's damage. Almost just knocks over Praedyth on the spot. But just pushing in the bottom lane. Paprise is in his own base, just trying to move from lane to lane, and is almost already dead.
Dear.
Goes into Zhonya's, but now the team's on top of him. Triple will open up with the first kill of the fight. Now there's trading into the pit right here. Another kill, 3 kills. King is now just following past the Nexus, looking for more to pad out his stat line. 10-0-6. Moving on to the Nexus. Destiny will drop right at the end there. And Chaz moves out of the base, takes down Triple. But King, this is just almost unfair. This probably should be illegal right now as he's chasing Chaz onto the spawn pad. Guts comes out there. We're going to the Void Rush, chases out King, but the minions finish off the Nexus, and Mammoth take the win.
Yeah, they won't be able to stop the Nexus from falling. King with an outstanding performance on the Ezreal displays why he's one of the best AD carries in the league for sure. And Mammoth, of course, is a team able to come around their mid laner in Triple, who didn't have the best experience on Summoner's Rift. Was being hard camped a lot, Nautilus in his face constantly, as was Rek'Sai, but he survives for long enough for his team to collapse constantly. And even though Triple may have forgot his jersey today, he still showed up in the late game, unlike that jersey, and put on a pretty good performance.
Looks like it's just been, like, if you freeze frame that, it's like they've just edited out everything on him. It's just a black shirt.
Don't look up Belkan's image when he left to the TCL, is all I'm saying from that. It was wonderful.
I will not do that in the break. Yeah, but we saw improvements there from Legacy. We saw another flavor of Legacy is what I'm going to say, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was a very clear focus on what they were trying to do. That game, again, didn't work out. But, I mean, I will go back to what I heard from Daniel, which is, like, the team is still hungry, right? And that's, like, the best thing you can hear from a team in this situation because it's very easy just to get mentally just boomed out of a league, right? Like, getting to the second half, it's theoretically possible for this team. And to still have that mentality is good for the health of the players and health of their lifetime as a career.
Yeah, for certain. Like, being hungry is still one of the most important things that you can ask for from a team like Legacy. And, you know, they're in their second split together. The roster hasn't changed, but they've had amazing opportunities to go over to Korea and meet some teams around the world. And they've had all these awesome experiences. And these things eventually start to add up. You start to grow better as a team. For me, it's still about getting the execution correct. No matter how many fundamentals that they can conceive, they still need to be able to do it better. And once they get that down, they will be a very good team in the league.
Yeah, just a little bit further to go. But yeah, still Mammoth, though, looking great. I mean,
Absolutely.
again, pretty much when you ask anyone, people look towards Mammoth as being one of the strongest teams, just walking around. And yeah, Mammoth just looking good, picking up another win. We'll see if they can go 2-0 in this week as well. Had done so last week and have pretty much separated themselves from the rest of the pack. And yeah, we'll see if they can continue that. For now, though, we're going to send it over to Nick with the player interview.
Thank you very much, Pulse Destiny. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
That's all I wanted from you. Congratulations on your win. I mean, we were talking about the teams before you started your game and just like how everyone's going mid-split. This is a game that I assume you were probably expecting to win, but you can never go in 100%. How did you feel during that one?
Oh, a win's a win.
Yep.
So especially after last split. So, but yeah, it definitely feels good. Honestly, coming into this room, I actually thought you were going to ask me like something ridiculous. So I actually don't know how to respond here, but I'm glad we won. And there's a dog here.
Yeah, I mean, the dog is kind of taking over the ridiculously. I'm sorry that I feel like you're on guard now. I have nothing ridiculous prepared for you. The dog's here. I can probably get you a maxi bomb because I apparently have that kind of power. But no, I'm just happy. I'm happy that you're happy.
Oh, yeah,
because you
that's
were
great.
so depressed last split.
Yeah,
And
that's
it was
what I'm
so
saying too,
difficult
man.
to see that I'm glad that you've got like your personality's back. You got your spark.
I'm glad that we can relate on that level. Like, it just feels good to talk to you again.
It
you know?
does!
Like last split, like we never really spoke that much, and like.
This is like a running theme
Yeah,
now,
like-
apparently. How have you been? Screw League of Legends. What have you been up to?
Watching anime, going to the gym.
What kind of anime?
Just whatever's latest, like latest season. Like Attack on Titan was good.
Have you watched Neon Genesis?
No, I actually haven't. Oh, everyone tells me to watch it though.
So I'm an on and off anime guy. I'll occasionally watch something, but then but like the big stuff, I've been hearing so much. This show is absolutely batshit insane. I just hit episode 19. That'll mean a lot for people out there. There's an arm. I don't know what's going on. I thoroughly recommend you watch this show because it is just so weird. And you're in the mood. Well, actually, no, you're not in the mood for it. You last split should watch this show.
Yeah, okay.
You this split, stay away from it.
I'll go in the time machine and watch it.
All right, that's good news. Congratulations on the win.
Thank
I'm
you.
very glad that you're back. Do you want to stay?
Yes, I would love to say.
Well, you can't. We'll be
What-
back after this break.
Oh.
It's always a struggle.
Oh, flash.
Flashes the dredge line. Empress Divide comes across, but the depth charge is already attached to the Void Rush will follow. Triple drops to Guts, but he's now way too far deep into the back line. Crazy also gets mopped up here. 3 kills go over to Mammoth. Mammoth, top of the top tower. Moving on to the second. This is probably the first time I've seen Crazy not hit this game. When he wanted to. Obliterate dodged out by Babip. Going to disengage onto Foot right here. He's dead. But this Yumi ultimate is massive as well. Turns around, 1-for-1 trade, finds the second onto Chaz, and King just can't be stopped right now. Misses the Screamer's Divide, but double kill comes in for Triple. And now with only 2 members remaining, this looks like it could be lights out for Legacy. Paprise is in his own base, just trying to move from lane to lane, and is almost already dead.
Yeah.
Goes into Zhonya's, but now the team's on top of him. Triple will open up with the first kill of the fight. Now there's trading into the pit right here. Another kill. 3 kills. King is now just following past the Nexus, looking for more to pad out his stat line. 10-0-6. Moving on to the Nexus. Destiny will drop right at the end there. And Chaz moves out of the base, takes down Triple. But King, this is just almost unfair. This probably should be illegal right now as he's chasing Chaz onto the spawn pad. Guts comes out there. We're going to the Void Rush, chases out King, but the minions finish off the Nexus, and Mammoth take the win.
At Macca's, our burgers are now hotter, juicier, and tastier, with onions added at the grill for more flavour, perfectly melted cheese, and softer buns. They're the best Macca's burgers ever.
He's a nice boy, isn't he? Destiny.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, he is.